If you run a high ticket offer and you're ramping and building up a new sales rep that's kind of struggling to handle objections, they keep booking follow-ups that end up ghosting, and they're not bringing the return that you're spending on ads every single day for them to close deals, I want to share this video because this is actually a video of me doing a quick objection handling role play and showing one of our new reps on one of our new offers that we're scaling how to actually handle fear objections, how to handle that I need to think about it. It's going to come down to the numbers, blah, 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 all the smoke screens that your sales reps are running into and they're struggling to handle. This video is pretty much just a quick 20-minute role play on handling an objection so we can see kind of the questions that we ask during our objection handling framework and how we can actually take that objection and reframe it and end up closing the deal. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm Clay Lake. I build and lead sales teams for high ticket info offers doing over 6 figures a month in revenue. We help them scale past multiple 6 figures a month with proven sales processes, leading high performance sales teams, and dialing in their systems with hands-on execution. So this channel, I pretty much share everything I've learned from scaling multiple offers past 6 figures a month, as well as some day in the life stuff if you want to check it out. Everything from building sales teams, dialing in offers, and making sales just feel not so pushy and feel like second nature. I'm gonna start putting out more videos like this that are just very here's exactly what we do, here's how we handle objections, here's the numbers that we look at when we're scaling and looking at sales metrics with sales teams, how we optimize and audit offers to make sure your sales teams are actually best fit to close deals, kind of the whole 9 yards. My only goal here is to pretty much help you scale to the point that you can work with us and you end up buying one of our offers. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. You're gonna hear me kind of asking a few questions around the offer. I'm pretty sure this is a real estate investing offer where we kind of coach real estate investors as well as help them scale in terms of with lead generation. And this is just a sales rep. His name is Bryce. He's been kind of dealing with a lot of I need to think about it and getting kind of hung up when it gets to the objection handling stage of the call. So this is just a full role play on Zoom. It's not gonna be super high quality, if you will, but the value inside the video should help you out if you're kind of running these objections and looking to scale and ramp some sales reps. So let's just go ahead and jump right in.
Drop that in the chat real quick.
Yeah, I dropped it in our Slack. I think honestly what would help me more than you even reviewing a call is just you be me and I'll give you an objection and we don't have to run through the whole thing because I know you got to cut, but just
Okay.
quickly take me through because I want to feel what it feels like to kind of be not corner, but okay, now I need to move forward because of the questions you're asking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
it's okay, so drop the 7,500 PIF for the 4-month agreement and then I'll just kind of we'll kind of go from there. So you're me.
Okay, also give me a little bit of context so real estate investors, what you guys are selling, leads and appointments to real estate, what's the exact offer? Just so I can kind of be a little bit more armed.
Yeah, so the offer is, it's a done for you service. So basically the lead generation and then the appointment booking is also done for you because we use an AI chatbot. So the AI bot books in the appointments for them and schedules them on their calendar. But obviously they like to get in touch with leads quickly, but that's basically the whole offer. It's done for you, kind of like what you guys do, just no call center. If that makes sense.
Easy. Yeah. And then these guys, when you say spread, they go close a deal. Let's call the deal.
It's 10, 15K. That's average.
So for wholesale, because I know with real estate agents, for example, they make X amount commission off a big close. With investors and wholesalers, they fix and flip. Walk me through how these guys make money.
Yeah, so they basically are just the middleman in the transaction. So they buy the right to the contract. So if it's a wholesaler, they would buy the right to the contract and they would sell it to a fix and flipper and they would keep the profit that the fix and flipper basically buys it from, right? So then the fix and flipper would then just do his shit with it, but then the contract's completely on his terms now. So that's kind of how they make their profit.
So for you guys, you're mainly looking for you're getting these guys direct sellers.
Yeah.
That want to sell their distressed property and usually what would be termed
they call them motivated sellers. So motivated
sellers. And what's a qualified motivated seller?
What is it? A qualified motivated seller?
Yeah.
So someone who needs to sell as soon as possible. Someone who has a specific pain point to why they need to sell. So it could be a foreclosure, probate, divorce situation that. And then someone who's kind of willing to negotiate on price. But that's something that our chatbot does as well, is negotiate price. So.
Damn. Okay. And then, so that they buy that, they get the contract from the seller, and then it's their job to go sell that contract essentially. If they go,
pretty much. So they have a buyer. Everyone has a buyer's list, is what we call it. So there's everyone usually in their markets, there's a buyer's list, so they can basically just buy the contract, and they know that their buyer will buy that contract. So that's kind of how the business keeps itself alive, sustainably.
Okay, got you. And so these guys' spread is usually how can I go do X amount of deals to make, if someone wanted to make a 50,000 a month spread, how many deals would they have to do? I guess it kind of depends because the level of the sell,
it depends. So you can novate novation's a strategy where you can get fat ass spreads of like upwards of 60 grand. But that's kind of where you go to the MLS and list it. But let's just say for the sake of like simplicity, so wholesale, they would probably need to do four or five deals a month. Let's say four.
Easy.
Four deals a month.
Okay, yeah. So my job is just to close you on getting more deals. Got it. Cool. So let's give myself some context as well, because I'd rather start from the temp check to give you like a better idea. Because a lot of my objection handling starts with the temp check, and then we'll do temp check. Let's say you're doing, and you actually, matter of fact, let's make it even harder on me. You give me like the scenario. So you're doing, you know, X amount of jobs. Like, give me your scenario, what you've kind of tried in the past, so I have like a little bit of like grounds to handle the objection, and then we'll just rip it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's just say I'm doing around 3 deals a month right now. Obviously, I want to get up to $50,000 a month. We've done a lot of outbound. You know, SMS. We blasted out SMS. We've done cold calling. We have a lot of VAs. I don't know if I want to necessarily get rid of those just yet, just because it's working pretty well for us. But we obviously want to add another marketing channel to get to that 50,000 a month because it's a big thing for us. But that's kind of where we're at right now.
Gotcha. And have you guys tried like PPC, Facebook ads before? And also, Bryce, are you guys selling PPC and Facebook ads, or are you guys just doing the Meta side?
So we can do both.
Okay.
But we primarily sell Meta. So, but if someone's like, we want to do Google, we're like, all right, fuck it, we'll do Google too, because it's easy.
Cool. And then you guys, would you say, or for you, you're the prospect in this example. Have you worked with a marketing company before?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Cool.
Let's say that. Yeah.
And then your offer is, what do you guys do? 3,500 a month versus 7,500 PIF.
Yeah. 3,000 month to month versus 7,500 PIF, both 4-month agreement.
Gotcha. And then you guys also run how much ad spend?
Let me check. You mean for our clients?
Yeah, like if you're pitching a client, like how much do you guys normally ask for ad spend?
So we ask for 50 a day in the beginning, and then we ramp up to 100 because everyone spends 2 to 3x within the first 3 months.
Let's just rip it. Cool, Bryce. So I guess before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of everything, I always just like to ask our clients before we kind of, you know, jump into everything. How are you guys feeling? Just based on everything we kind of went over, price aside, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10 to make it a little bit easier for you. 1 being like, you know, Clay, I feel like I've seen this before. You guys all seem like the same thing. I just don't know if it's going to work. And 10 is like, this is, you know, checking all my boxes. And like, if we can make the numbers, let's get this thing moving.
I would say, I'd say I'm around just around a 7. Obviously price is going to play a big factor as well. You know, everyone claims to be the best, but I'd say I'm around a 7.
No, understood. We also get that too. We don't even really claim to be the best. We just kind of claim to be a little bit of a different, the way we do things a little bit different to make it more custom. I guess when you say like around 7, you know, what's kind of, you know, in the middle between 7 and 10? What's kind of missing outside of, I know you mentioned price, but price aside, just to feel comfortable with the system itself, like what's kind of missing?
I don't know. I would say, I mean, maybe it would be a little bit easier for our guys to understand on the back end, kind of how it works if we want to change something. But I would say everything besides that, man, I really like it.
So when you mentioned like understand some of the stuff in the back, so I want to make sure like, you know, the whole team's on the same page. What specifically is kind of unclear?
So just like, you know, if we want to go in and change some automations, obviously like we've been using Go High Level, but you guys seem like to know a lot more than us. So I mean, how would you guys kind of help us out, I guess, if we had some questions and stuff like that for the team?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, with that being said, I mean, we do it completely for you. So like, all of like the system setup, the workflows, all the techie, time-consuming automation stuff, like we just do it completely for you. And then if you guys have any issues that arise, you just communicate that with us, and we go in and fix it. On the flip side, too, of course, like we can also consult the guys to make sure they understand how to use the system. But what we found with like our most successful clients is we just set it up since we know how to do it. We let these guys focus on what they're best at, which is going and getting these distressed sellers and getting these properties. And if any problems come up, any breaks in the system, you just communicate that with our team. Like I mentioned before, we have a full one-on-one success rep and coach in the community to help you with this, even on our Done For You program. So pretty much it's just going to them, letting them know, hey, something's wrong. And then from there, we fix it and get you guys back on the phones. I guess does that kind of make sense? Or like, is there anything else that's kind of unclear?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. So I guess with that being said, anything else that you're kind of concerned about outside of like just kind of fixing stuff in the back end? Or do you guys feel like with kind of everything I went over, you know, this is kind of like a system you guys need to hit, you know, like you mentioned, 50,000 a month?
I would say, yeah, I'd say it could help for sure. Depends on
Okay.
price, like I mentioned, but
Yeah, yeah, and we will get into it. I promise. I'm not trying to beat around the bush here. I just want to make sure it's something that's actually worth our time here. It could help, or do you feel like this will help? Because I want to make sure. I could go ahead and show you all the different client results, but it's really going to come down to you and your team and seeing if you guys feel like this would actually work. We look at you guys as a partner, not just another client that we're sending leads to. So do you feel like it could help or it will help? And you can shoot straight with me. Like you're not going to hurt my feelings.
I mean, yeah, I'd say it will help, but obviously I'm a bit skeptical. You know what I mean? And I want to make sure that my money's going to somewhere that's going to get me to where I want to go. But I think you guys in the
Yeah.
system, I'd say I'm pretty confident in it. So yeah.
We'll do first and foremost is very normal, right? I think everyone should be skeptical if they're sending money for anything. But I guess when you mentioned skeptical, I know you worked with a few of these other companies before. Is it because you've specifically kind of ran into something, maybe paid another marketer that didn't really, like you mentioned, get you guys like those actual qualified, motivated sellers before? Is that kind of where a lot of the skepticism comes from?
I mean, I'd say so. I mean, man, because honestly, bro, like, a lot of the shit that people have done in the past has really just been a lot of low quality.
Mm,
And obviously, you know, marketing's not cheap. We're paying you guys and we're paying the marketing, fees to the platform. So, we don't want just leads coming in on a fucking spreadsheet. You know what I mean? We've tried the lead forms from Meta. They're shit. So
yeah.
I don't know. But based off, I mean, what you showed me, I guess, like I said, man, I feel confident in it. But obviously, there's always going to be a little bit of skepticalness in my mind. But
Dude, totally understood. And just to quick kind of put a nail in the coffin there. I know you mentioned a few of these things like Google spreadsheets and stuff. Just so I'm clear, like did I, kind of explain everything thoroughly enough to make sure it's understood that that's not what we do? It's a lot more systemized, and you guys kind of are actually getting people who, like I mentioned, are foreclosers, people who are motivated, and we have those chat bots to make sure before you even speak to them, they are actually motivated to move. Is that all clear? Just because I want to make sure, again, we're going to jump into the numbers, I promise. I just want to make sure, everything's clear before we kind of talk about what next steps look like, because we do, a lot of our clients stay with us for a very long time. So I just want to get off on the right foot. Is that clear, or is there anything, with the kind of those concerns, what you've kind of seen before? Do you feel like we're kind of different? Do you feel like this is actually going to work?
yeah, I feel like you guys are different. And the way that you explain it, obviously, you guys gave me confidence in it in the system as well. It sounds really good, but everybody's got to put their money where their mouth is, right? So,
Dude, I love it. I love the respect. Well, look, let's just kind of jump into it, man. I know you told me before. I just want to make sure we're still on the same page. I mean, we'll get into it. There's a few different things that kind of go into it. Obviously, like you mentioned, there's ad spend,
yeah.
as well as kind of what our costs look like. With ad spend, it's going to be, it's going to be custom to you. We have some guys that are spending $500 a day on ads. We have some guys that spend 100, $150 a day, and a lot of guys that we start out on just to prove to you, like you mentioned, that we actually have something that works. Just start at about $50 a day, right? If you guys want, you can increase to it about $100 a day. You're going to get more lead flow that way. What we found is usually guys are 2 to 3xing their ad spend pretty quickly because it doesn't take us too long to get you guys a deal. Is that digestible?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, man. And then as far as kind of program, everything that we're doing from A to Z, from actually generating the leads, obviously qualifying them, getting them in front of you guys. We have two different options. The first option is kind of our month-to-month option. It does get a little bit more expensive over time, though. So either way, we do a 4-month agreement just because we want to make sure we start off with a good, strong quarter of the year before we kind of go into more of a long-term agreement. You can either pay that $3K a month, month to month, or if you guys do have the working capital, I know you guys mentioned you're doing about 3 deals a month already. A lot of our best clients will go with option B. This is where you just pay it off $7,500 one time. That covers your first 4 months. And that way, whether you guys go and do 4 or 5 extra deals a month or 10, you pretty much keep all the extra profit.
Hmm. So is that all you guys can do in terms of packages?
That's our 2 options, man. We believe simple scales, and we just like this. That's the 2 options we deliver.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, man, for sure. I think definitely it sounds like something that would work for me. I definitely want to, put some more thought into it this evening. Get some sleep. And I mean, I'll follow up with you first thing tomorrow morning. And then, if it makes sense, we'll get the ball rolling. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I mean, 100%, man. There's obviously no rush, but before we hop to make sure, I'm getting you the information you actually want. Which option, I guess, are you leaning towards?
I would say, man, I would like to just pay it off if I would move forward, man, and just get that
Mhm.
over with so I can just kind of get some more money, and like you mentioned. But
Yeah. That's what most of our clients do, just because like you usually can get that first deal and it covers it, and then all the rest of the deals that we get over 4 months obviously is profit. I guess with that being said, now that I know you're kind of leaning more towards option B, which is the more popular option, by the way, what are kind of some of the things that you're kind of running through in your mind, just so I can kind of be better prepared for the next time we chat, possibly?
yeah, well, it's a big investment, brother. And like I mentioned, bro, we got I've been on these conversations, a few times, and I end up paying money and I get burnt. But you like I said, you guys sound different, and I'm not taking anything away from you guys, but obviously I just want to think about it. I'm not saying my wife's a decision maker, but I'd love to, run things by her, make sure that the fucking, the kids will be all right with, whatever, and she's all right with everything. So yeah, I just think I'm gonna need maybe just a little bit of time, brother.
Dude, totally understand. I guess just for clarity on my side, I know you mentioned the first thing you mentioned was just kind of budget. So is it kind of more so about like that 7,500 upfront is maybe just a stretch, or is it more so than anything kind of making sure this is the right decision? There's still just a little bit of skepticism because of, a few of those other companies that you mentioned you've worked with. Which kind of thing is a little bit more standing out? Just so I'm a little bit more, I want to make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not like the price is okay. The price is fine. Like that's not going to be an issue. Obviously it's an investment, but we do okay for ourselves, right? So I'd say it's more just it's a scary thing, man. You know what I mean? Jumping in with a
Yeah.
new company and hoping that it works, right? Because at the end of the day, there's no guarantee, right? So I'm just kind of trusting that it might work.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's all we can ask for, right? Is your trust. I told you this before. Like, I could sit here and scroll through all the different guys that we've helped, but it does come down to you and your business and seeing how this, if you feel like this could work for you. I guess before we did jump into the numbers, you mentioned, like, hey man, if the numbers work, this is something I do want to go with, and this is different than what I've been through before. I guess now knowing that like the price has nothing to really do with that, what's kind of the main thing making you hesitate now?
I'm just skeptical, brother. But yeah, like if you guys can say if you guys do what you say you can do, I mean, it's something that I would like to do. So
Yeah, and also like just to make it very like again like it's very normal to be skeptical. Like Will tells guys this all the time. Like he posts all the different results. He's a real estate investor himself. Like totally get skepticism as part of it. With that being said, I know you mentioned before, like, hey, you want to stack on 3, 4, 5 more deals a month, right? You want to hit that 50K a month, right? So it's kind of coming down to for us is it's not about pushing it or doing anything like that, but just helping make the better decision. So you know, clarify for me this because it's kind of what it sounds like. Is it kind of more than anything, not necessarily like you don't think that this works because you've seen it work for other people, but just a little bit of hesitation, like you mentioned, just making that jump, just kind of that feeling of comfort.
I'd say so.
Got you. Well, I mean, with that being said, man, I mean, do you think stacking on 4 or 5 extra deals a month and doing 50K a month of profits is supposed to be a comfortable leap, or do you feel like there's probably going to be
No,
a few hiccups along the road?
no, I mean, yeah, I guess you kind of have to break things and fix it as you go, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that being said, like, obviously, I know that you've had a situation in the past, but let me ask you real quick, if you hadn't kind of been through that process before, where maybe you paid some money and they dropped the ball, do you think, seeing this new opportunity in this conversation, I know you mentioned it's been a great conversation, like you'd be able to pull the trigger?
I guess so, man.
So I guess like why let some other company that you didn't really have full control over or one decision before kind of like dictate the way you're going to make decisions for your business now?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
So I mean, what's it going to be, man? I mean, I know we can help you out, but like, you ready to pull the trigger or what?
Yeah, bro, that was solid.
You see how like it's
But
not
the
so
thing is, you
pushy?
you always just loop. But the thing is, that's what I'm trying to figure out right there. That was so fucking sexy. That's insane. Like,
It's
dude,
just like
the way you just float, like dude. As soon when I get more reps, I swear to God, because it's like the way you use Sivers so well, bro. Every
yep.
time you re-loop back into the sale, that's what I'm missing. You get back into
Yep.
frame and you ask for the sale, like subconsciously almost. You know what I mean? So that's
I
what
just
that's
I,
what's
I just
missing.
don't waste time. Like I know exactly what it is. So like notice how what I did is at first the first thing I wanted to do is like see how long I took before I dropped price though. Like
So long.
I really make sure that there's no fucking confusion. And then like the price drop is so simple. And then from there, like it's very simple for me to know and isolate on what the objection is, because immediately I'm like, okay, it ain't price. Then immediately it's skeptical. Okay, what does skeptical mean? He's been burned before, right? And then I walk through, and this is why I already did that on the temp check. And hey, where do you feel like we're the same, or do you think we're different, right? Because now I get them to tell me like, oh, you guys are definitely doing things different. And I also notice how I always float in like we could show you all these different other client, but it's going to come down to you and your business, because it's their decision. You have to empower them to make the right decision. So like I weed out all the fucking blames. Notice like that frame at the end that I use is so strong. So it's like, if you hadn't been burned before, do you think you'd pull the trigger? And he's like, yeah, most likely. It's like, then why would you let that single decision, or maybe even a company that, like you mentioned before, you didn't even really have total control over, like let you kind of dictate the way you want to do things now. And then it's the feeling of comfort, and see how it's like I'm peel layer by layer by layer back. Because then the last thing was like, man, I'm scared.
Yeah, because it was so much more than just the I need to think about it, right? So, all right, bro.
All right, bro. I'll
All
talk
right,
to you
man, I
soon.
appreciate you. All right, see you, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop this link too.
So as you can see, he threw a whole bunch of different objections that went from I need to think about it to I got to run over by my wife, make sure the kids are good, to like really just coming down to fear. And he was just kind of scared to take the jump. And I think a lot of times when you're training new reps, especially ramping them up on a new offer where it's not the easiest offer to close whatsoever, it's sometimes best just to show them. Like instead of, because it's so easy to coach and tell them, oh, you did this wrong, and just like, completely like destroy them over everything they're doing wrong, versus like, hey, let me just show you. You be the prospect, I'll be you in this situation, and I'll show you how I can actually close that objection. And now at least he can walk away from that call. He can have this recording, which now I'm giving to the rest of the world. We can have that recording to like listen to and kind of sit with and understand like the actual framework, instead of like giving like a specific word track, and which is very, very difficult to scale with a sales team. Is give them like a good framework. Right, and we have that framework called SIVER, clarify, isolate, validate, and reframe, which really just comes down to clarifying what the real objection is. Is it fear? Is it uncertainty? Is it logistics? What is the real objection? And then from there, how to actually isolate on that objection, validate it, and reframe it to kind of help them come to their own conclusion that really this is the right decision, and that they're just kind of scared. They're just scared to make a big decision, and that's how it's supposed to feel. So just keep that in mind when you're training new reps, to be patient with them, right? Like be very, understand that you have to have very high like standards with your reps, but be patient with them. Understand that like if they've only taken 10, 11, 12 sales calls, it's going to take them some time to really get to the level where they're closing at 40, 50%, on a decently difficult high ticket offer. So that's a wrap on this one. I just want to quick share that because I felt like that would be valuable for anybody who's, currently trying to ramp up sales reps to listen to, or if you're a sales rep yourself, a good kind of role play to listen to. And with that being said, I will see you guys on the next one.